Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today, I want to talk about recent reporting about Avi Loeb and he had his mission finally. He went out to the Papua New Guinea in the near the off the coast of Papua New Guinea to search for what he thinks could be something interstellar or even possibly extraterrestrial in nature. That's something that crashed down into the ocean there back in 2014, and I thought it was. Pretty interesting. I've actually criticized this effort in the past. During previous podcast a while back, probably over 6 months ago, 8 months ago. But it might turn out that it is something after all. There's been different articles that have come out now. Some of the articles apparently are saying things that aren't really 100% true. I think they are basically confabulating things. For instance, there's an article in the Washington Examiner that just recently came out about this. And according to people on Twitter, that this is basically tabloid material and it's not really true. So we're going to check that. I'll show you that article here quick. And I don't think that this is, again, this is, I don't think this is a realistic article. So basically what they're saying here, it makes it sound more sensational than it really is. It says here, UFO hunters say spacecraft debris appears artificial in origin. It says, then it goes on to say, two Harvard University scientists, widely known as alien hunters, said debris recovered from an unidentified flying object that crashed into the Pacific Ocean in January 2014 appears to be artificial in origin. And it says Professor Avi Loeb and researcher Amir Siraj recovered 50 anomalous iron spheres last week after tracking down the UFO in question, named IM-1, as part of a $1.5 million underwater search off the coast of Papua New Guinea. And it says after analyzing the metallic alloys, both scientists concluded they belonged to an interstellar spacecraft. The composition is anomalous compared to human-made alloys, known asteroids, and familiar astrophysical sources, Loeb said. Now, I just want to stop there for a second because this whole thing needs to be apparently these things need to be examined. Nobody knows anything yet, really. But again, they are optimistic that at the very least that this object, it could be an interstellar meteor, which is something rare to come up with, I guess, from a scientific point of view. But there was another article here I want to share. This is from the Independent. This was why I think this article was a little bit more down to earth. It says here why a Harvard professor thinks he may have found fragments of an alien spacecraft. They don't know yet. Again, exactly. They just don't know yet. And actually, you can see this picture here. He's standing there holding a piece of it, and you see this thing right here. This is one of the spheres that they found. These tiny spherules on the ocean floor in the Pacific Ocean, where this thing came down in 2014. And I'll go through some of this article here. It says, after spending 5 years studying the night skies for signs of extraterrestrial life, Harvard University astrophysicist Avi Loeb believes he has found proof of their existence at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Loeb has just completed the $1.5 million expedition searching for signs of a mysterious meteor dubbed IM-1 that crashed off the coast of Papua New Guinea in 2014 and is believed to have come from interstellar space. The 61-year-old told the Independent he oversaw a team of deep-sea explorers who found 50 tiny spherules, or molten droplets, using a magnetic sled that was dropped from the expedition vessel, the Silver Star, 2 kilometers underneath the surface of the ocean. He believes the tiny objects, about half a millimeter in size, are most likely made from a steel titanium alloy that is much stronger than the iron found in regular meteors. Further testing was now required, but Professor Loeb believes they either have interstellar origins or have been made by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. Now, that's pretty interesting. Now, if they're made by if it turns out that that they're able to prove maybe that they were made by an advanced interstellar or extraterrestrial civilization, that's highly interesting. Now, I actually also found he actually published something himself today about this. I'm not going to read all these articles, but I just want to point out there's a lot more testing that needs to be conducted on this to determine what's going on with these things. So we really can't say. Again, it's just early. These things were just found last week, so there needs to be more investigation. In fact, he had his own little article that he put out it was just in Newsweek today. And I'm going to look at check this one out a little bit. I was scrolling through this article before I started the podcast to see what he was saying himself. And again, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what it is yet. Again, there needs to be more testing and everything done. It says in the coming weeks, we will examine carefully any clue for the spherules being different from solar system materials. This will constitute independent evidence for the interstellar origin of IM-1 in addition to its measured speed. It says the expedition demonstrates how science should be done, driven by raw curiosity and wonder on a topic of great interest to the public while seeking evidence to find the truth and finding it despite all odds after a heroic effort by a team of dedicated professionals. Let me scroll down here a little bit. He says here, we often complain about politicians ignoring evidence that contradicts their narrative. Similarly, scientists should not dismiss data that violates their models. Reality stays whatever it is, irrespective of whether we choose to ignore it. In the long run, it is better to adapt to reality than to ignore it. I guess he's calling out scientists out there in the world who have closed minds on this whole subject. But hey, again, and this is that Avi Loeb, of course, he's running that Galileo project, which is trying to study UFOs here. So in addition to doing this, he also is behind the Galileo project. So that's something else he's doing. Now, of course, I know people in the UFO community are sometimes divided about Avi Loeb, but I give him credit because he's a scientist and he is trying. And hey, this might turn out to be something. It might turn out to be extraterrestrial. I guess more research is needed to determine what these little things are, these tiny little pellets, what they are, where they came from. I mean, it could just be part of an interstellar meteor. I guess we're going to find out as time goes on. But anyway, continuing here with what Loeb said, he says, ultimately, other people beyond Galileo Galilei would realize that the Earth is not at the center of the solar system, so there is no point in denying it. In fact, acknowledging Galileo's insight allowed humanity to design successful space missions. Yes, exactly. He says here, later on, he says, however, an open-minded approach would consider materials of different composition than solar system rocks just because the first interstellar meteor could have originated from an environment very different from the solar system. As it turns out, this argument was already made in a paper that I published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters last year with Amir Siraj. Brown and Barufka do not acknowledge this earlier paper or contrast their conclusions with it. These are two people that are opposed to his beliefs. Anyway, the new wrinkle in this debate is that by the time the Brown and Barufka paper appeared, our expedition to the Pacific Ocean recovered spherules at the location of IM-1's path. We now know that the DoD localization is correct, casting doubts on their conclusions. This Brown and Barufka, they argue that while an iron interpretation is attractive, the modeling strongly argues against an iron object. This is because an iron would have much higher ablation coefficients than used in our modeling, and even at low speeds, such high mass loss rates would cause the fireball to be visible much earlier than observed. The object would also have to be much larger than modeled, further increasing the difficulty in matching the light curve. Moreover, irons do not typically show flares, but rather have smooth light curves as we would be physically expected. And he says here, in my last class of the spring semester at Harvard, I asked my students for advice on what to do if we find an extraterrestrial gadget. Half of the class recommended pressing buttons on it, and the other half expressed caution. When one of the students asked, "What would you do, Professor Loeb?" I replied, "I will bring it to a laboratory and study it before engaging with it." We are starting to make plans on the next expedition in the spring of 2024. The spherules serve as romantic rose petals, leading us to a partner, which in our case is a possible large relic of IM-1. So he wants to look for a bigger piece of this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it extraterrestrial? I mean, I don't know. I have my doubts on that one. But I mean, of course, could an interstellar meteor? Okay. I guess it's a great find and all that. But again, I don't know. Is there a technological device down there still waiting? Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I still think that I guess my original feeling on this was that, this could be considered by some people, especially in the UFO community, wasting time. And I think this, why not just focus with the Galileo project stuff, trying to figure out what these UFOs are doing here rather than this. But maybe they will find something. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I guess it's very possible. I hope I am wrong. I hope this does turn out to be extraterrestrial. I guess we're going to find out as time goes on. But anyway, I want to move on. There's some other things I want to talk about here today. Let's see here. Yeah, there was some stuff that came out on that I found on Twitter today, and this is with regard to the David Grush potential hearing. And so I want to talk about that. There was a tweet put up by one of my regular followers, Saywan P, and he put it up on Twitter today talking about what's coming down the pike this month with regard to David Grush. And it says here, he talked to a staffer, Saywan did, from Representative Luna, who deals with the UAP issue, and he was told that David Grush will be testifying publicly at the House Oversight Committee meeting that's going to happen this month sometime. Estimated hearing time frame July 20th to July 31st. So by the end of this month, it looks like we're going to have a live hearing, at least in the House, with David Grush, where there was hope. We were hopeful that something like this was going to happen, and apparently it's still not over. There actually might be another hearing before the end of the month in a Senate committee hearing. I asked that question to Saywan, and he responded by saying, not as I said, is there any update on the Senate committee hearing and whether Grush will testify publicly there as well? And he says, not as of yet, but they are working on it. And then there's other people asking, will it be televised? And yeah, obviously, anything that's on there, that's any of these committee hearings, you'll be able to find them televised, either the House or the Senate, who's ever presenting these hearings, they'll have it televised on. You'll find on government websites. And also C-SPAN televises things like this, C-SPAN 2. So you'll definitely be able to find it. And so that's something to look forward to. So I am looking most certainly forward to that. I think that would be a major step. And hopefully it's not just Grush too. I think we need to have some other people stepping forward in addition to Grush. It'd be nice to have some of the actual people who are involved in these programs, working on them, and have them present information. It'd also even be better if we were to get some more videos or documentation or pictures, because apparently Grush said he saw these things. And speaking of whistleblowers, actually also Lou Elizondo has been there's been discussion about him going to be talking publicly again. He's been pretty much on a hiatus for a while now. He basically hasn't been doing any kind of interviews online with any podcasters, anything for a long time now. But apparently, he is going to be talking about. He's going to be talking about something on Twitter. People are saying that he has some truth bombs he's preparing to start throwing. So hopefully, in addition to Grush, we get some new stuff coming from Lou Elizondo. And Lou Elizondo over the years, as we all know, has talked about things that he has seen. Like he's talked about videos that he has seen. He actually said that those 3 Pentagon videos from 2017, 2018 that were leaked, he said that they were basically nothing compared to some of the other ones that he saw. Right. So I would be interested to see maybe we're going to start getting some more leaks like that. But he said he actually saw a video where you could see beings in craft that were only filmed 50 feet away from some of these flyers. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be a big thing too coming up. So hopefully, in addition to Grush and potentially maybe other whistleblowers potentially testifying publicly, on top of it, maybe we'll have Lou Elizondo in the background throwing out some truth bombs on top of it and releasing more information. Plus, he has that book that's been in the works. Hopefully, that's going to be getting released at some point soon. I think we're moving forward. It looks, I think we're going towards some end game. I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be this year. It could be next year. It could be 10 years from now, but we are moving forward. There's still seems to be information coming out, and hopefully this is going to be, I'm really hoping to see some good stuff coming from Lou Elizondo. I have been looking forward to his book for a long time, as I know a lot of us have. And I'm really looking forward to reading that. But I mean, if there's anything else that he could come forward to talk about now. I mean, basically, does that new whistleblower language that went into effect starting earlier this year, does that allow him now to tell us more than he couldn't tell us before? I mean, I would hope so. Is he going to be somebody that be testifying? That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future here. This year, I've talked to some people today. I texted Shannon Scott from Military Witnesses to UAP. He's very optimistic about things coming down the pike. He thinks this is going to be a great year, and he has some inside connections, so he knows more than I know. Uh, uh, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm very optimistic right now, and I think that we might be heading towards something. Maybe enough things might happen here as the summer proceeds that maybe finally cause this whole balloon to finally burst. All right, I'm going to go look at some of the comments here that have been coming in. A lot of people saying hello. Mark, the latest comment here: "Don't bring me down, Grush." I guess some people don't. Yeah, UFO community is divided on Grush. Of course, there's a lot of people I talk about. A lot of people who follow my podcast and YouTube channel. Who's some people don't believe in Grush, and I still don't see how somebody might see. My whole issue with this is I don't see how somebody in his position is going to be testifying under oath and lying. Why would anybody put themselves in that position? And what about some of these other whistleblowers that are testifying under oath? Why would anybody put themselves in a position where they could go to prison? I mean, if you lie under oath, then you could go to prison. So that's one of the reasons why I think he's telling the truth. And besides that, I mean, again, a lot of us already knew all the stuff he was talking about. Apparently, though, the difference between him and us is that he was actually talking to some people who are working on these programs. And according to him, he says he saw documents, videos, and photos. So there's a difference. Okay, let's see here. Somebody else says, "Food and Water Music" says, "I'm pretty much angry all day, every day. Cannabis helps. I'm so tired of humanity's losing streak." Okay, I missed some comments from earlier here. Let me scroll up here. Gabriel Akari says, "Perhaps someone of the corporate-controlled politicians in the United States Congress got the balls to demand that the corporate intelligence community release the secret files regarding the ET, UFO, UAP topic." Well, that's what we're all hoping for. I don't know. Someone in the corporate could, yeah. You would think that maybe some of these corporations would want to rock the boat, but maybe that's part of the problem. Corporations. Let's think about this for a minute. Corporations, do they really? Do you think that they want to rock the boat? Do you think that they want to mess with the economy at all? I don't know about that. That could be part of this issue. Part of the thing that's holding this back. Maybe there's some corporate entities that are that pay politicians that basically pay for their campaigns who don't want this to come out. Maybe they're afraid of what disclosure would cause to their business. I mean, that could be something to be concerned about. Yeah. So, yeah, but maybe it'd be nice to see some of these politicians, say, you know what, I don't care what you say. But then, of course, they might get destroyed. Who knows how that will go? But at the same time, maybe there's some people in corporations that they're just like you and me, and they're sick of this cover up too, and they just want to get it over with. And maybe they look at it might be a good thing for humanity. It might maybe there'll be better prosperity for everyone. Maybe some people look at it that way. We don't really know. I don't even think a lot of these people. There's a lot of people in this world who don't even think about this subject at all. Hardly. Let's see here. Okay. Sugar Sharp says, "In the newest episode of Weaponized, towards the end of the episode, they strongly hint Grush will be testifying in the next few months, as if they know but don't want to say it." Yeah, well, it seems like he is going to be testifying, according to information that we got here today, that he will be testifying publicly. And that will be very interesting, of course. I mean, for us to be able to sit there and watch this happen live on live TV, that most certainly will be very interesting. There's a lot of good days from Jesse, good evenings from Magnus. Magnus didn't like the stuff I was talking about. Grush. Oh, the ELO song, "Don't Bring Me Down," Grush. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep. I get you now. I remember that song. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to some of the things that are coming down the pike here this month. I mean, this month could be jam packed. I mean, I'm not sure if we're ever again going to get a week like we had when the story of Grush first came out, and we had the Vegas UFO. We had stories about other whistleblowers. I mean, there was just so much going on in that 1 week. I'd like to see another week like that, but even bigger. I want to see an even bigger week than that. And speaking of the Vegas UFO, now I just want people to know failed to mention yesterday. I had a guest. I had Scott Roeder on again, the crime scene reconstruction expert, and there's there's going to be one more podcast. Hopefully, it's going to be completed on Friday. I'm working on an overall discussion about. I want to talk about the timeline of the whole thing from beginning to end. Talk about what parts of the story that were publicized were false, what parts could be true, what parts are unknown. So there's going to be, just so for people out there, I get some emails from people wondering, hey, how come you don't do more on that? I am doing more on it. I think it's a story that needs to be talked about a lot more. I still think that there's something to the Vegas alien story. I don't think it's a hoax. I just don't think it is, based on a lot of different factors, which I'm not going to get into right now. I've already talked about them a number of times. But I thought, today I wanted to really talk about the story with Avi Loeb. I think it's interesting. I like to find out what these spheroid, how does he call? What does he call them? Sphere rolls. What are they? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from? I mean, in the one article I was reading, he was talking about that they could, some portions looked like could be something that's 14 billion years old. I mean, wow. That's interesting in itself, even if it's not extraterrestrial, right? But the fact that it's interstellar and it's 14 billion years old, that's some interesting artifacts to have in hand, that this thing might have been traveling through this universe since the beginning of time, since the universe started. So that's just, even if it's not extraterrestrial, it's still interesting material, nonetheless. Yeah. Okay. Let me check out the comments here. Again, I just wanted to do a quick show to talk about this, what's going on with Avi Loeb. I thought it was an interesting discussion item, and of course the updates with Lou Elizondo. I mean, he's if it's true, I guess George Knapp. He's somebody he's an insider. He has more information than we do, right? So he's hearing something that it sounds like Elizondo's going to be tossing some truth bombs along with more Grush stuff. I know people don't like. Not everyone out there is a Grush fan, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for joining me for this little quick update. So until next time.